And we'll connect to our breath. We'll start to gradually expand breath's cadence and sound. And you can do this mostly by feel. Because by feel is different than by count or by brain. Go by feel. So you're exploring with your breath further reaches. You're exploring with your breath where to soften. You're exploring with your breath how to, we'll say, let open the shape of your breath. So opening the backside of our body to be receptive to breath's influence. Opening and softening through the abdomen and the pelvis. So we're going to shift into our pranayama. I just think this forms just a nice starting place for our pranayama. If you need to switch the cross of your legs, do so now. We'll be working alternate nostril breathing. I'm going to select the left hand today. And so we might just start with a 10 in, 10 out, but kind of refer, still kind of now giving a count based off of your felt sense of starting point. 10, 10, 10, 5, 10. Okay, so I'm just going off of my feel sense. Taking stock of the feeling of breath. There can be a weight, a velocity to it, a coarseness, a fineness. So what are you feeling? What are you noticing about breath? There can be, of course, thermal components to it. The human body is rarely static in its rhythms, and so I find that every pranayama, it's got a hold component, that there's a little ebb and flow. Even as I'm gradually lengthening, drawing out and slowing and deepening and modifying that relationship to breath, that it's an ebb and flow process. Sometimes a little shorter, sometimes a little longer. So if you find yourself holding to a count, break free. The body rarely operates in static lines. Last one or two breath rounds. And resume your Ujjayi breath. And we'll get set up in a half lotus, left over right, for seated spinal twist. Ooh. So with the left over the right, we'll be turning to our left. Inhale, growing the low back. With breath, let it expand vertically. Exhale, moving into the twist. gliding the left humerus, that upper arm bones, letting it glide back is part of this chest opener. There's a tendency for this area of the chest, this deep pec area, to be quite gathered. And so we can just start to expand or spread our breath into this crucial axillary juncture. If you have an image of the fan-like shape of this pec, you can, kind of looks like almost like a seashell, like a seashell or a fan. And you start to breathe into that seashell shape, expanding it. I'm going to maintain the hold on the foot. Inhaling to unwind slightly, straightening the right leg. Now you may need to bring this leg down to the ground. It just depends. Okay. With the hips and the chest basically oriented forward toward my right straight leg. Exhale, fold. So straight ahead fold. Mm-hmm. And then inhaling the chest bones forward, letting that humerus continue to glide back. And release, inhale, come upright. And we'll lift that left foot out of that half lotus. I'm going to pass through just a moment of a partial little Ashtanga move, which is really sweet. I'm not going to get all the way into it. But as I'm taking my foot out of that half lotus, I'm going to put the ball mounds on the ground. There's a wonderful move here where the arch of the left foot just kind of butted up, contacting the inner right thigh. And this is just a partial. Like the Ashtangis would continue to turn the leg as they scooch this in really closely. I'm just making a nice little. Okay. It's like assisting eversion, to use the technical words. It's assisting drawing those littler toes back toward the outer knee. All right, let's trade sides. I'll show you on the other side too. So, half lotus, right over left. Then we'll exhale, turning to our right. And a strong breath as our companion and guide into every one of these poses. By strong, I don't mean forceful, just present. Strongly present, strongly available. And breath is strong in the sense that it can interact through all these substrate of the body. So it can interact on the level of bone, and it can interact at the level of energy. It can interact at the level of emotion, of thought. It's strong in that it shows up and all these substrate, these varying densities of substrate. So it's strong enough to be present in the pec area or wherever it feels maybe snug. It's strong enough to show up in the soft places and the tight places. And that's more of a connection to breath, a relationship to breath, than it is a demonstration of forcefulness. I'm going to release slight. Inhale. Holding that right hand to right foot connection. Drawing the left foot, leg rather, straightening it. And then exhale, folding forward. Reach through this inner left leg. The tendency is this foot wants to drip off to the side. Reach through inner leg. And inhaling, we'll unwind. So disconnect the hand from the foot. I'm just going to help the leg out. I'll turn a little bit so you can see this move. It would be a pose, but I'm just going to elide right through. I'm just putting the outer ball mounds. I'm just assisting the foot into this eversion. Eversion is flexing the ankle and letting the littlest toes kind of be moved back toward the knee. Just nudging it and unnudging it. That'll do. All right. Let's lie on the back. Have your roll or your squeezable prop nearby. So we'll be doing this inner leg nudge, brolga. So we will be putting that sole of foot or that instep of foot to the inner thigh. Inhale the head, the shoulder blades lifting off the ground. But feel the breath showing up in the low back, in the abdomen. And then exhale as you reach out through the left leg. Your right hand can assist, planting the right foot into the inner thigh. And I'm using the sole of foot, pushing one into the other, outreaching, pull low belly down. So some people will use this as a straight leg nudger outer, and some people will inhale, come back center. We'll use this as a way of getting into the bent leg in a deeper way. Exhale the right leg outreach. Left hand Assist left foot to the thigh. Give it a little nudge. Outreach. Pull low belly down. Inhale. And exhale, reach left leg out. Right foot plant. Give a little touch squeeze. Reach through the inner leg. The tendency is for this leg to kind of droop, spin out to the side. Just use that inner leg. Find it again. Pull low belly down. Inhale, let up. Curling tailbone. Exhale, right leg reach out. Left sole of foot press. Find the inner right leg. Pull low belly down. All right, let's do two more aside. I'll watch you. Let the breath be present through all aspects of this move. In other words, we're not holding our breath to reach for the foot. We're not holding our breath or grunting. It's letting that breath move, be heard. And all these moves. There you go. Yep. Yep. And I'm letting it push the muscles in the thigh related to the knee. So I'm engaging the muscles all around the knee. Let that, making sure that feels protective and the knee should feel well structured, protected. Nothing should feel slippy or pushy or twangy in the knee. There you go. All right. And then we will grab that block or object. Inhale into the low back. And growing the legs vertically as you're squeezing. Exhale, the head, shoulder blades up. So now as you find that inner leg line, there's a little teeny micro rotation of the legs. Pull low belly down. You could even hunt for new leg and hip territory by rotating the legs. Inhale, letting the head down. You can try it out. We'll squeeze the object, reaching up toward the sky. And you could slightly internally rotate the legs. Exhale, the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. You can find out what that feels like, where that gets. Pull low belly down. Inhale, letting the head down. Reach up through the legs, squeezing. Exhale. As you lift the head, shoulder blades up, sure, you can play with a little rotation. Pull low belly down. Inhaling. You can also play with external rotations as you squeeze the object. You can squeeze, exhale, lifting head, shoulders up so the heels move nearer to one another. So you're turning on those butt muscles. So if they've been kind of on off, the butt muscles, see if you can get those muscles right by the sit bone to turn on. All right, let's do 3 more. You'll decide on the orientation of the legs. But as with any of these poses, these are just tools of making our rounds to all the layers, all the places of the body. And this way we build a powerful connection between where we go imaginally and where we go viscerally. And once we set the feet down, we'll set up for bridge. Exhale, come on up into bridge. The tailbone shifts, the pelvis lifts. And here, with or without a block, we'll be readying for elevating one leg at a time. Inhale, pick the left foot off the ground. Exhale, raise it, reach it, fanning the foot bones. We'll switch sides. Left foot down. Inhale, we'll pick the right foot up. Once we set the foot down, and we'll lower the spine down. When we turn over, we'll be setting up frog. So this is the frog where we'll have our shins and our knees on the ground. So let's take a moment to prepare the padding for that. It's whether you, flip the edges of your mat over or grab some blankets. That's up to you. And so this can be worked on the knees and the feet on fixed surface, like flipping over the edges of your mat. And this could be worked with one leg on a sliding surface, which allows you to just keep sliding. So we're getting some pretty different reads on the pelvis yesterday when we were attuning to the disc, the pubic disc, the joint, right in the middle of the pelvis. I thought that was really fascinating how it really changed our stance. So maybe there's some magic in that pelvic disc center as we're doing frog. Is it possible to feel breath reaching the pubic disc? So it just gives a little different flavor to the pelvis than, say, if we were to organize around the thigh bone feeling distinct and spacious from the pelvic bone. Just a very different. Right, we're taking it in a different gestalt. We're taking it in a different grouping or way. When I'll just. All right. To exit, use your forearms to walk you forward so that you can just lie the thigh and the pelvis down on the ground. And then just make smooth movements to just gather your limbs back under you. Pardon me. All right, so we're going to do some wall thing, some floor thing, and some wall thing. So it'll, I guess I can, so just have some wall readiness. We're going to take a warrior one next to the wall. So this is my side next to the wall. How do I say this? My back leg is furthest from the wall. And I'm reaching my arm that's nearest to the wall way up, kind of up on an angle. So let me face you just so you can see this angle. I'm going way up and to my right with my right hand. Okay. So a little different than sometimes we do the chest opener reaching straight back. We're going to reach up. A couple reasons for this. One, so you can just keep a more forward orientation. My observation is sometimes when we reach back, we just kind of crank down somewhere in the middle low back. And two, it is really nice to get into that axilla and some of that deeper chest structure, so we can do it pretty nicely here. And you can keep walking the hand so that the shoulder, the neck is relatively free. Good. And with this basically forward warrior one orientation, there's that pubic disc again. We're going to find that. So letting that left leg reach back, the pubic disc helping us to differentiate what the left leg is doing from what the right leg is doing, deepening. And as the legs adjust, the hand may need to adjust. All right, let's release. We'll switch sides. So I'm going to warrior one, my back leg, which happens to be my right, is furthest away from the wall. And my left arm is going up on the diagonal. So this lets me keep a more forward-facing orientation. And then I can always just walk my hand back and around and have a little bit more margin for arm movement. So let's release. And now for the ground stuff. We're going to get ready for dolphin. Setting up elbows and knees on the ground, forearms on the ground. With the shoulders being moved away from the skull. Inhale. Hopefully we get a nice, fresh, bright read on the chest. And then exhale, press the knees off the ground. Maybe that chest is nice and bright. Bright with discovery. Release. So when we go back to the wall, we'll have an opportunity to work inversion. I'm saying that generally from forearms or hands. So inversion, half lotus. So if you're kicking up, let's say into forearm balance, the half lotus, I'll just pretend I'm upside down for a moment, will be you is working that foot onto the thigh. Okay. And then changing sides. Now, if you're not kicking up by yourself, work emergence, which is using the nudge of one foot or one ankle. So you're dolphin at the wall, you're downward dog at the wall, and you're using the nudge of the foot to give your sit bones a little sky. Okay. All right, so inversion with half lotus. There's a version for us if you're kicking up, using the wall to lean against. And there's a version if you're doing downward dog on the wall. All right. So whenever you picture that and set yourself on a path, go for it. And then I'll just demonstrate one of each of those versions, just in case a future body joining us needs to see. So first I'll just demonstrate a forearm balance, half lotus, drawing foot, thigh, and give each side, good, 3, 4, 5 breaths. Notice any impetus as you're drawing the foot into the thigh to sink or slink in the shoulders. Keep pressing, even though you're actively pulling some element of your body downward. Okay, and then just for demonstration, if someone is still needing a visual guide, emergence. Oops, little. Would be using the wall. Let the inversion prompt in you a strong connection to your breath. Breath that shows up can show up subtly. Breath that shows up strongly can show up physically. Breath that shows up can show up in the shoulders and the back and the lungs and the cells and the bone and the, right? So let the inversion prompt a strong connection to breath, a strong relationship, listening-ship to breath. I'll watch you for a moment. Good, so as your foot is finding thigh, just making sure to keep pressing through the shoulders, the arms, the hands. That's good. It's a funny little human quirk, right? When something is moving downward, it's not hard for everything to suddenly be moving downward. Oh, reach up. Just give it one more moment or so here. There you go. Up, see. Hoop-a-doo. There you go. Good. Now, just like before, use that inner leg. Use that inner left leg. Reach up through the inner leg. There you go. You feel how much the back became linked and involved. Yeah. All the way inner leg, inner thigh. All the inner thighs. There you go. All right. Let's move back to a working place. We'll stand at the top of mat. Chair pose. Inhale, bend knees, reach arms up. Exhale, fold. Monkey. Inhale. As the chest lifts, keep reaching through the arms. So as you keep lifting the chest away from the toenails, you're stretching, reaching the arms, wrapping as you keep lifting the chest. You can take another breath. So the arms are reaching vibrantly for the ground as the chest keeps lifting, lifting, lifting. Exhale, step back or jump back if you're feeling feather-like. Inhale, cobra. We'll say cobra first, that's fine. Exhale, lower, downward dog. Inhale, left foot forward, warrior one. And exhaling, opening up hands. We can keep them shoulder width. Letting the left pelvis and leg limb be distinct from the left pelvis leg limb by way of the pubic disc. Twisting warrior. Exhale the right elbow over the left thigh. That back right leg, the strength of that hamstring, right? That back of right leg faces the sky. Let the strength of that back right leg lift that leg limb toward the sky as you're reaching it back. The foot stays on the ground. It's more of the strength of the leg lifts and carries it. You'll feel the whole pelvis might be subject to reorientation. But there you go. Oh, I know, right? Yes, yes, yes. Even though we palmed the ground, that was exactly. That's the. It looks very different in the pelvis. Right, twisting extended warrior. So remain like so. Other options, set knee down. As the right hand fingertips reach for the ground. So this right arm, still working on the outside of the leg. Left arm reaches overhead. Inhale, we'll unwind. Set the right knee down. And we'll walk the left leg over for a pigeon. So I want you to bend this left knee as much as you need to. We'll keep this basically forward orientation of the pelvis. So in other words, I'm saying basically forward orientation. So my pubic disc isn't facing the long edge of the mat. Inhale, bring hands under shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. 3 moves. Warrior 1. Inhale, right foot forward. So what I'm asking us to just kind of, it's almost like a regrouping. If you've grown accustomed to imaging and feeling thigh bone, pelvis, I'm saying let's consider taking pelvis thigh bone as a singular, as a collective, and pelvis thigh bone as a singular, as a collective, which gives us the pubic disc as kind of an alternating point or fulcrum, a joint, right? Just the way that we draw boundaries or lines around what we are to consider can alter our perception, our feeling sense of that which we have redrawn, right? So I'm asking you to expand your feeling sense in a slightly different grouping or shape, just like we were doing yesterday. Here's that twisting, extended warrior. And exhale, we'll hook the left elbow, armpit, over the right thigh. And this might be where it's interesting to let those back leg muscles lift, carry, differentiate that whole left side of the pelvis and leg limb. As we move into twisting extended warrior, the left hand fingertips to the ground, the right arm reaching overhead. So keep working with that back leg. I'm going to see what your legs look like, feel like. So the strength of those leg muscles. Lifting that leg limb as we keep lengthening that left leg back. There we go. Way to go, legs. Way to go, legs. My sense is, what an amazingly different perception of the guts and the abdomen and the low back. It's such a different read on the low back. There you go. All right, and that pigeon. Inhale, unwind. We'll place the left knee down, and we'll walk the right leg down. Letting the pelvis maintain a basically forward orientation. So you bend that front knee as much as you need. I let breath grow strong, meaning prominent, meaning able to permeate and live in and move into all this physical substrate, the glute, the back. Inhale, hands under shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. So this time when we take warrior one, inhaling the right foot forward, be working with the hands in archer. So if you need a strap, just grab one on your way up. So we'll work with the right elbow down. So in that case, with strap, left hand can lower it to right hand. There we go. Let the neck and the head be an extension of the whole rest of your core. Just noticing if we get into these shouldery positions, if you start to cock the head off to the side or bend it, or the arms are pushing the head, just getting the arms off of the head, letting the head have its posture. So instead of moving the head for the arms, move the breath into the shoulders. Move the shoulders for the neck and the head. So you may have to work that breath up a few more ribs, getting higher into the chest and upper back. Okay, let's release. So we're going to take a lunge back bend. Now, how much back bend is up to you. The lunge part, shift onto the left forefoot. Heel up, knee up. Okay, we'll start by reaching the arms up. And then it's up to you. How much back bend, reaching up, reaching back is as judicious of a reach back as you're interested to explore. Inhaling, we'll come up, set the left knee down. So we're going to do a little partial tangled pigeon work. When we move into pigeon, walking the right leg down to the ground, I want you to have enough surface under your butt so that your right hand can be placed behind your back. Okay, still with strap in hand, my right foot is looped. My right hand grabs that loop. I hope I said that all right. So this will be a first little bit. And I'm getting the wrist, the forearm, just so on the pelvis and the back. Now the left hand, for right now, I'm just planting it and letting it create a pulling or a tractioning move, especially if my back needs that. Option 2. Your left hand can reach for ankle. And release. We'll let the left foot down, the strap, the right foot, the right hand go. Inhale, place both hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to move through cobra just as a little soft release move. So exhale, slide that right foot back, lower belly to earth. When we lower the belly to earth, I feel it gives us a nice moment to feel the breath in the belly. Got that nice ground surface. And letting it kind of reflect into the backside. So you have lots of breath support under that spine as we move cobra. Exhale, downward dog. So using the ground, kind of the way a weight lifter would use a belt. It gives some kind of pressure and sensation to the abdomen area so the breath can grow even more focused and present in that abdomen and in that low back. All right, lunge, back bend. Inhale the left foot forward. Oops, no, we have one move first. Archer warrior 1. So one move first. Left foot forward. And it's the left elbow down. So if you're using a strap, right hand lower to left. Right up. There you go. So Archer Warrior 1. There we go. Oh, strong back leg. Good. Wonderful. So there's nothing wrong with, we'll say, letting the pelvis face kind of 45 degrees off forward. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also don't quite get the same read on the pubic disc So there's all sorts of reasons we'll modify these stances. But if I keep that pelvis basically oriented forward, even if I have to adjust my footing or heel up, it lets me play with the tissue, the fascia, a little bit more directly, the tissue in the fascia that encompasses this whole femoral area, so the this lymphatic and femoral and blood corridor. I just think that's such a good piece. If I just kind of pop my pelvis out this way, there's no stretch. It's just muscles kind of just propping me up, which is fine. I'm just on my joints. I'm just kind of hanging out with some there's nothing. But through the fascia, little different pelvis orientation, all of a sudden now I'm working with the fascia beneath the navel, around the pubic bone, which is deep abdominal fascia, which is deep abdominal and hip and lumbar tissues. To me, it's just super, super exciting. All right, we're going to release the archer component. Pivot for lunge. Inhaling, we'll draw the arms up. So the heel is up, the knee is up, and as much back bend as you're willing to explore. And to me, it's that fascial, that muscular, that fascial knit through that femoral and that pubic area that lets me play the tension game of reaching back, reaching back, reaching back. So that's especially where it really comes to light. Yeah. Now you don't have to bend further, but I'm going to encourage everyone, just based off of what I can see and feel, to start to work this upper chest, upper back into the back bend. You don't have to bend or reach further back, but you can start to breathe and articulate and spread and massage and move those upper back joints and chest joints. Right. Come on in. Come on in. I know that there's a left leg. All right, inhale, come upright. We'll set the knee down. Phew. And we'll work a little bit of this tangled pigeon. So, left leg to the ground. The loop, putting it on my foot, left foot. For my left hand, by reaching behind, can grab. Okay, so option one is you can use your right hand and play with little traction. Just the act of pulling might be a super pose enhancer. I'm just making sure that you have got enough surface under your thigh, your butt. Option two is right hand grabbing right foot. Release. Same here too. We're going to pass through cobra. So inhale, both hands under your shoulders. Exhale, we'll slide that left leg back, lower down. So when I begin breath in the abdomen, the low back, the discs, the bones, get a nice little woof, pillow of breath. And then pulling, moving the chest. Cobra, exhale. Lower downward dog. So finally, a little unwind move. Inhale the left knee forward. We're re-entering pigeon, but we're setting up, twisting toward the foot. So now I do want you to walk this left shin up, like parallel with the front of your mat. Even if the left cheek is on the ground. Okay, take your time to walk these legs open and keep walking the right leg back. Okay. Then it's a matter of connecting to the left foot. Maybe using the foot as a lengthening move, a hip release move, a back release move. And some of you will find hooking that arm over the foot is possible. I wouldn't recommend just jabbing your elbow into your foot or your calf. It's not that pleasant. You don't need to bruise yourself. So use a handhold so you can get that elbow to the ground. Now, when we get into a position like this, I'm just going to kind of offer some observations. Most people will do it at the cost of kind of suppressing this diaphragm movement. So just kind of notice and feel the front of your diaphragm, the front of your solar plexus. If your gut feels kind of bunched, just like you might be sitting at a computer, opt out. Find out how to use your hands and your leg and your torso and your back muscles to unslouch that solar plexus area. Then breathe. Deep cleansing, moving energy and breath through that solar plexus. It's one of these areas that just gets super slouched on a lot of our people. When it becomes a habit, then it just feels like second nature, like, oh, that's just what I do. That's very familiar. Inhale, unwind. We'll go hands under your shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. All right. Twisting pigeon toward the foot. Inhale, draw the right knee between your hands. Set up similar, so just taking your time to walk the right shin up to parallel with the top line of your mat, the edge. Walk the left leg back. And then keeping that solar plexus breathingly free, begin some sort of reach or lengthening torso toward foot. And you have plenty of time to play and prop and press and explore. So there's no rush to get quote unquote there. Mm-hmm. Inhale, let's bring the hands under the shoulders, and once more we'll press back, exhaling into a downward dog. All right, let's softly set knees down, have a seat. And just a final little back release. So if you might just want to see first and decide how much space you might want beside you. Okay. Or what props you want. So I'm going to grab, this is my foot and hand are opposites. So this is my left hand grabbing my right foot. Now you'll decide do I need a strap to do this? Okay. And I'm actually going to roll onto my right side. So that's the spatial consideration. Now what to do with the arm first, I like to reach it up. And if this is bothersome on the shoulder, I need to kind of put all these caveats into play here. We might need a little bit of prop for the shoulder or the head. Okay. So we've not done this before, so let me just provide a bunch of descriptors. If you play with it differently, that's fine. I'm going to turn to my right. My aim is not to drop down onto the floor on my right. My aim is to remain fairly active. My left hand, connected to my right foot, is turning. Because as I maintain an active, I'm almost steering the boat, so to speak. In that activity is a lot of spinal muscles, stabilizing things. That as it's active is really helpful to my back at least. So again, I'm not trying to just plop over to the right. I'm kind of steering the ship. I'm just imagining a big, a big boat wheel. So even as I turn to the right, I'm not plopping. This might put a nice bit of stretch through the left side where the leg is long and along the ground. Okay, I'm going to come back upright and switch sides. If I have sent one into utter confusion, just do a back release that you know and like and feel good about. Okay. So this is my right leg straightened. This is my right hand grabbing the left foot. you can use a strap. Because I'll be turning onto the left side, figure out if you need something under your neck or if your shoulder is clear for this. And I'll be turning to the left some amount, just some amount, because I want those muscles to work. They're the rotation or the rolling muscles. Remember when we used to roll on the ground? Way back, right? There's some of the first connections to spine, movement connections, that we forged, the head and the spine. Gotta make sure we dust off those wonderful stabilizing, organizing movement. Coming back upright. We'll set it all down for Shavasana. I really like rolling as a way to unwind from back bends. Feeling your breath through this physical substrate. Physical substrate meaning the material, the stuff of our body, the cells and the tissue and the fluids and the bones. You can feel your breath even as you attune to the subtler stuff. The subtle stuff can get a little fuzzier to point to. We can still do it. We can still locate. But the subtler stuff is the energy stuff, the emotional stuff, the thought stuff. Notice you can breathe, and breath permeates, touches, and influences that subtler stuff. And we just take it one little step more. We can feel and attune to the breath as a shape, a field. It's deeply relevant to the body, but it's not confined by the body necessarily. And you'll start to feel this has while still having shape and form, this is the least formed of what we just described our way through. It has less dense, concrete form than our bones or an organ. There's still a shape, a fluidity. It's ever moving, ever changing. Probably grows a little bit, shrinks a little bit, expands a little bit more. And this is what the yogis have been describing to us, that we can attune, almost like little radio stations. We can learn to listen in and through different substrates, or koshas, sheaths, layers. So different way of listening for every layer. Layered listening. And this is a major, major part of how we orient and make meaning. Right? What is it that I can listen to and orient around? And when you're ready, and you're always welcome to just hang out in Shavasana as long as you love to. But if you want to move now, bend knees. Turn to a side. Use both hands, press to seated. Namaste.